Hello, hello. It's Anne-Marie Julian Wetzel here. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and thank you so much for joining and watching. Today's presentation is for our Handmade Holiday Hop, and I hope you have had an opportunity to check out some of the previous videos. We have 10 amazing demonstrators who are participating in this Handmade Holiday Hop. So every Tuesday and Friday, we are releasing new tutorials on holiday cards. This Friday, today, I am presenting a Slimline Fun Fold card, but there will also be 2 other videos releasing today. At the end of the month, we will have a total of 20 videos. So be sure to check them all out and like and subscribe to all of the demonstrators who are participating in this holiday hop. So let's get started. Like I said, am doing a fun fold slimline card, and I wanted to take advantage of using these adorable nutcracker tags. So this is one of our kit collections. I believe it just sold out, but it will be coming back in stock, have no fear. And so look how cute these are, these adorable nutcrackers with the shimmer and the dimension and the little nutcracker girl. So super cute. So let's get started. Let me show you what we will need. You will need a paper trimmer, and I will provide all of the dimensions for you in the description below, but I'll try to recap everything now for you. And let me show you a sample of what we are doing. So this is a sample of one of the cards. I have some more samples at the end, but here is the sample. So we're going to flip open, and then it also opens this way. So just so you have an understanding. So let's get started with a card base. So this is going to be at 8.5 by, am I right here? Oh, do I have the wrong side on for dimensions? Ha. I do. This makes more sense. So again, this is 7 inches by 8.5 inches, and it's scored in half. So this is a slimline base card that we are going to start out with. Then everything is in quarters. I pre-cut everything, but like I said, I'm going to give you the dimensions, and they'll be in the comments. So the next piece is Old Olive, a cardstock that will end up centering in here. So again, everything is in quarters. So measuring the half of our slimline is at 3.5 by 8.5. So this is going to be 3.25 by 8.25. So let's get that adhered down. And we're just going to center that. Then my next 2 pieces are going to be, again, 3 by 8. And the paper that I'm using is the Traditions of Christmas. And here's just a sampling of that paper. I absolutely love it. The catalog and online do not give it justice, but has all of this gold foil elements on here, and the die cuts actually cut out some of these dies if you get the suite or the bundle. Look how gorgeous that is. I'm using actually the back side of this piece here, and that is going to go down there. And then this here is 1/8 of an inch, really. You could cut it the same, but I cut it as 1/8 of an inch. And that's going to go here. But before we do that, we are going to want to cut this piece to make that flap open up. I'm going to bring my paper trimmer in here. And again, it's going to be 1/4 of an inch. So first we're going to want to score at, let me bring this down so you guys can see. I'm going to bring it up more. It's easier for me to work down this way. So this is going to score at 1/4 of an inch. And then we're going to trim. So from that 1/4 of an inch, let me see if I can bring this over a little bit. I'm going to take my trimmer and line it up at the 1/4 of an inch mark. And actually this score line, which I know is hard for you to see, but it will help you when you're lining that up for the initial 1/4 inch mark. And I'm going to bring it all the way up. And again, this is at 8 inches, so this is going to go to 7 3/4 inches. And then I'm going to turn it around. And again, line it up at the 1/4 inch. This should be very close to the 7 3/4, which is where we left it. And I'm going to again bring it down to 1/4 of an inch. And here is my fold mark, so I don't want that to be, but we're going to cut from here to here. So again, lining that up at 1/4 of an inch. And bringing this to 2 3/4. And if you cut it correctly, there you have your flap. So I'm just going to set this aside and fold that back on the score line. Probably easy to go this way at the score line. And you want to do it both ways. You want it to have free movement of that. We'll have that. And then we are going to create for the inside. So as I mentioned, this one I created as a shaker, but we need to decorate the inside here. So I'll talk about how I assembled this after, but we have to decorate that center piece. So I'm going to set this aside and we'll come back to that. Let's get some inking done. Okay, so one of our newest stamp sets, and I just have that here. Kelly used it in her recent video. Our new swirled designs. I am loving this just as much as Kelly is, and I could not wait to use this. So I'm going to use this circle. We're going to do second generation like Kelly did, but we're using cherry cobbler. And let me just show you. So again, this is the photopolymer stamp set. I have to share because I have not shared this with anybody. So here is a swish, lots of different background embellishments, speckles. I just love this, and I'll be using it a lot. But the other thing that's really fun about this is it's got coordinating dies, and these dies, look at so they have a small and a large. So they have the off swirly, oval, diamond, and stars. And then they have some other embellishments. Very, very fun. Can't wait to play with this more. But let's get stamping. So I have my stamp there, my swirly circle. And we are going to, again, I'm going to do second generation. So I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp on, and we're going to create this background. And I'm just going randomly I don't want it to be too uniformed. And I am overlapping. Ooh, I almost forgot to second generation that. All right, I love the subtleness of the cherry cobbler. I actually love cherry cobbler, but I thought it would be too bright because our sentiment is actually going to be using cherry cobbler cardstock. So I wanted something a little bit lighter. There. So we'll have lots of circles all over my mat here. Do you know decisions? And let's go there, and then we'll fill in those spots. And there we have a fun background. A little bit darker on this end, but that's okay. Well, again, as I said, we're going to be putting some other embellishments on here. Okay, so our next thing that we are doing is putting our sentiment inside, and it is going to be no L. So I used the large alphabet dies. And then I embossed these with the Celebratory Sips embossing folder so that one side has that diamond kind of effect. Can you see that? Bring the N up. You can see that maybe better. All right, so these are all pre-cut, and then I embossed it with that folder. And here is that folder. Let me see if I can bring a color. So maybe you can see that a little bit better. Yeah. I'm sure on the solid you can see that, right? So I just put all the letters on that side and utilized it. This actually comes in a double embossing folder. So there is another one that has floral, and then this is, it looks, I guess, to be cut glass is what the intention is for that celebratory sips. All right. So we are going to place that here, and then in addition, I cut out these little stars. So these are from the Peace on Earth die cuts. This is one of the die cuts. So I had to add some bling to that. So we're going to add that too. And I'm trying to decide, do I want, you know what? I think I'm going to actually add dimensions to this, and I'll explain to you afterwards why I'm adding dimensions. Where are my dimensions? Not too far from me. So here we go, just adding all right, before I set those down, some of those are the adhesive is off of them, so almost done here. So I just thought this was kind of a fun, different. I'm going to cut this in half just to give some more stability to the letter E. And the last letter. Let's do the same here. I think I might add some more to the O also. I want to make sure that this has some stability in there. So let's take another. Oh, why not do it for the E too, or the N also, right? All right, so we have those in place. Set that aside. My messy mat, but to me, it's just proof that I'm having fun. Oop. All right. Should have thought that through because I could have had these pre-done. So I am going to put that here. So this is going to give it some stability before the insert, because otherwise that tab that flips open would sink in. So we are going to create a little tab to help open that as well. And our last letter, Noel. All right, so that will end up going here. So let's get that down, and we'll put those stars on afterwards. But so again, I cut this down to like 1/8 of an inch shorter. What we're going to do is put foam tape all the way around this edge and line that up, so then that will flip open into our sentiment. All right. And the perfect thing for these are our foam tape strips. So I am going to bring that down. Those little strips will get used for something else. And these are nice, thin, narrow strips. Just need to make sure that I don't have it too close to the edge, because I don't want that flap. All right, so we can use this here. in there. So again, I'm going to show you the other card. If you were to do a shaker with this, and I know we have had a few shakers here, but if you were to do a shaker, then you would definitely want to make sure that there's no spaces in between the foam tape. All right, so here's the tricky part. This is actually the trickiest part of making this card, and that is making sure that it is lined up nicely over that area. All right, so that's our goal. Wish me luck. Nice and sticky tape. Love, love interactive cards. So the other thing too is also make sure that you have your flap. See, it already got stuck on that. All right, so I'm gonna fold this back in hopes. And sorry if my head is getting in your view. Let me see if I can hold that back. That may help me. You have to see me. I am literally on my toes, standing up to try and line this up. So far, so good, I think. Right. A little bit off down here. Just trying to... I got it. There we go. All right. So now the reason I mentioned to you, I hope I have it. Just some adjusting a little bit. So if this was not popped up, if the Noel was not popped up, this would sink in, right? So I do want to try to see if I can adjust this a little bit. It's that tricky part. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we're going to decorate the front too, and that is with our little nutcrackers. So I actually cut them in half. I know it was hard, but I did cut them in half. And they're going to go, we're going to put these squares here. And again, these also will run through with that embossing folder. Actually, I want to put it down here. These are cut at 2 1/4 inches, the squares. And then stay tuned. We're also going to create an envelope so you can put your card, your Slimline card in. Super easy to do that. And just another fun element. All right, so here we have our nutcrackers that are going to go on that tab coming up. And this is... All right, so before we do that, I pre-cut a snowflake. And this is actually from the what is the name of that? Festive Friends. I liked this snowflake. I can't believe there are a lot of our stamp sets that have snowflakes. But this is from the Festive Friends, and I like this particularly because it had that hole in the center. So what I am going to do is line this up here. I want it to overlap a little bit. I'm going to draw a circle right there. And I can see that circle there. And then we have our trio punches. So there's this little circle. Then there is this tab here. You can see that tab. A lot of glare. And then another one. So this is perfect for tags. But this actually is also perfect for me to line this up. So I turn this over and I am looking for that circle I drew. You know what? It would help if I put my glasses on. All right. Here it is. All right, perfect. Then we have brads, right? Like I have so many brads in so many different colors. So I thought this would just be something festive to hold this in, and then we lift that up. And I think I'm gonna go with this light green. It's got some frost on it. So we'll do that. Put that in here. And just open those prongs to set that in place. And again, that gives us some stability to open that up, and the recipient will know to do that. All right, so then this is going to tuck under here. So let's get some adhesive on that. And then I'm going to put the other one on the end here. And then she'll go right in the center there. Super cute. I love these nutcrackers. All right, and there we have our card. So now we have to also put something in the center here, right? So we have this part that says Noel. Oh, we didn't put our little gold stars on there. So let's add some bling to that. Bring out my silicone mat. And put some adhesive on these. Yeah. This is when I wish I had nails. Help me pick some of this stuff up. So and whoop. So where to place these? Doesn't that just add a nice tint of sparkle to these? So I have a few more. Oh, I might have to cut out more. I'm gonna have to cut out more. I need I need at least 2 more for my L. I don't think. So, all right, so I'll have to come back and do that. I thought I had cut out enough, but super cute for that. And then for the sentiment, I actually am going to use one of the sentiments that came with that, and I'm just going to pop that in here. Cheer to last the year. We have lots of different sentiments, but oh, I did not realize we have. So that's just going to go there. Okay, so fun card. All right, so stay tuned because I'm going to show you a couple more, but let's get our envelope made for our Slimline card. So this is starting out with 8 1/4 by 11 1/2 piece of paper. Clean up a little bit. And we're going to score at the 8 1/4. And here we're going to score at 4 1/8. So let me open this up. And I actually have a template. So let me pull out my template here and show you first. Okay, so here's my template. The black is my cut line, 8 1/4. Let me bring this out a little bit. Or in. Okay, so the black line on a 12 by 12 piece of paper, 8 1/4 by 11 1/2. The teal color is my scored line. So this is at 4 and at 8. And then I'm going to turn it over. And it will be at 2 and at 11. So that's what we're going to do with my paper. You know what? I'm going to leave this here for a quick second. If you guys want to take a snapshot of that. So you have those dimensions. But again, I will put that in the comments. And this here, the pink, I forgot to mention, that gets cut away. So all right, so this is again pre-cut. I am going to score this at 8 and at 4. And then I am going to score it, turning it around, and I'm going to score it at 11. And at 2. All right, so I am going to use this as the outside of my envelope, but we have on the Peace on Earth or any kind of nesting die, you can actually put white label if you are planning on mailing this in the U.S. Postal. It is going to be so I'm going to cut it on this end and down here, which is the opposite, but I should have turned it over. It doesn't matter. I am going to say that the Postal Service, because of the thickness, would be a little bit higher than standard postage, but it's so worth it when somebody has a fun card. So again, I am gonna, this is where our score line is. I'm gonna cut along this score line here. And here. And then I'm going to cut here. Super easy envelope. Again, just cutting where the score lines are. All right, so let's get our bone folder here. And okay, so the other thing that you could do, I'm going to do the easy way, is you could find your middle point here and then cut down like 1 inch on each side and do an angle so that your flap, this will be the flap of your envelope. But I am just taking a corner rounder and just going to round my corners. Well, that didn't work out too well. Much better. All right, and then so this section here we're going to put glue on, and then this will flap this way. So let's get fine tip glue. And make sure you guys can see me okay. Just press that down and hold that for a little bit, not long. And then here, these corners, I'm just gonna miter them a little bit, just like as if you were making a box. And then put some glue there. And that's it. Now we have a very fun reinforcing that. Very fun. So let's see, does that card fit in? And it does. So we have a nice little envelope. And then, like I said, I actually have a sample here to talk you through. But again, so here is the card that we just made. The little Noel. And then here are some other cards. So let me just, I actually have to get rid of this sheet. It's driving me crazy, this messiness. Now that I'm done with that. All right, so we have that. And then here, again, using the Peaceful Garden paper, I did that. Again, I used that same snowflake with the silver brad. Open it up, and then again I made this a shaker. So I didn't want to show another shaker, but how fun is that? So same way of making it, except that I added the acetate before I added the foam tape on there. And then again, this prevents it from this tab sinking in, right? Super cute. And then you open it up this way. May the magic of Christmas fill each corner of your home and heart. Super cute. And again, we did the cheer to the last year here. And then I have one more card that I made. And I just could not let those legs go from those nutcrackers. So I just had some fun and adding the legs to the nutcracker. Again, adding a snowflake with a brad here. And then we have that very large stamp set that says Merry Christmas. So I stamped that. And then again, these holly come with the nutcracker. And again, because I don't want this to sink in, I popped these holly leaves up with dimension, and that keeps it. Now, if you do not want to do that, you can easily put a piece of foam tape right here in the center. Nobody will even notice it. Just don't take the back side of it off. So leave the top of that non-sticky, and then you would cover that, and it actually would cover up the brad too. But you could do that, and then that part would stay. But adding the foam there worked out perfectly. And then again, we open up that card, and may your holiday season be filled with joy and happiness. Again, I hope you enjoyed. Again, here is an envelope that I made with the white daisy or white willow cardstock, and just added some decoration there, so I don't have to worry about something for putting the address on here. But then again, here is that label from, or the die that is from the Peaceful Garden die set, and I just put that there so I can address that. So there we go. We have envelopes for each of our cards. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Again, come back every Tuesday and Friday for the month of October, and you will have some new videos to hop on and watch. Thank you guys so much. Just going to put my cards back out here. So hopefully you enjoyed this fun fold slimline card. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.